My name is Martha Ellison. I am 71 years old, and I never thought I would be standing in my son's living room, holding a chocolate cake in one hand, while the ground seemed to collapse beneath my feet. It was Connor's birthday. The house was full of relatives, chatter, and the clinking of glasses, but all of that disappeared when my eyes found my 6-year-old granddaughter, Lily. She was sitting in the corner, her head down, a pink baseball cap far too large pulled tight over her tiny face. When she looked up, her eyes brimmed with tears she could not release. My heart told me something was terribly wrong. I knelt down, whispered gently, and lifted the cap. Underneath, her beautiful golden hair was gone. Her scalp was bare, uneven, raw with tiny razor nicks. I froze. From behind me, Kara's voice sang out, wine glass in hand. She laughed. "Do you like Lily's new style? It's modern. She'll live." I should tell you who I am before this story goes further. My name is Martha, and I have spent my entire life working with my hands, sewing dresses and patching clothes for neighbors in Maple Ridge, Ohio. I raised my son, Connor, with the same steady hands, and when my granddaughter Lily was born, I thought my world had been given a second chance at joy. Lily and I have always shared a bond. I brushed her golden hair into braids for school, tied ribbons before Sunday service, and listened to her endless stories about playground adventures. To her, I was not just grandma, I was her safe place. But since Connor married Kara, things changed. Family gatherings became tense, laughter thinned out, and Lily seemed quieter each visit. That night, when I saw her scalp bare under that cap, I realized all the unease I had felt was leading to this moment. Kara strolled across the room as if nothing unusual had happened. She clinked her glass against another cousin's and then turned to me with a smirk. "Don't you think it's cheek, Martha? Short hair is in? It's only hair, it grows." Her words felt like ice water poured down my back. I stared at Lily's trembling lips, the way her small hands clutched at my dress as though I were the only lifeline she had left. "Chick?" I asked slowly, my voice shaking with controlled anger. "She's 6 years old, Kara. 6. Who could look at this and call it fashion?" Kara waved a hand, dismissive. "Discipline, Martha. She never wanted to wash it, always whined when I tried to comb it. I solved the problem, no more fuss." My breath caught. "You call humiliating a child discipline?" Kara tilted her head back, laughing. "Oh, relax. It's a joke. Kids are dramatic. She'll get over it." But I could see it in Lily's tear-filled eyes. She wasn't getting over anything. I searched the room for my son, desperate for him to see what I saw. Connor was in the kitchen, pouring drinks as if nothing in the world had gone wrong. I called his name sharply. He turned, eyebrows raised, already looking weary. "Mom, what is it now?" "What is it?" My voice cracked. "Did you know about this? Did you see what Kara did to your daughter?" Connor sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "Mom, it's just hair. Kara thought it was best. Lily fights her every time. This way it's easier." I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "Easier. Did you hear her cry, Connor? Did you hear her beg for it to stop?" He avoided my eyes, staring down at the counter. "She's dramatic. Kids cry over everything." My chest tightened with fury. My son, the boy I had raised, was standing in front of me, defending the act that left his little girl trembling in fear. For them, it was just hair. For Lily, it was a wound carved into her heart. I could not let the conversation end there. I took Lily gently by the hand and led her down the hallway to the bathroom, away from the noise of clinking glasses and shallow laughter. I locked the door behind us and knelt down so we were face to face. Her eyes were red, her cheeks streaked with silent tears. I reached out, tucking her trembling hands into mine. "Sweetheart, tell Grandma what really happened. I need to know the truth." She hiccuped through her words. "Mommy woke me up yesterday. She was mad. She called me dirty. She said my hair was gross. I told her I bathed, but she didn't believe me. She used Daddy's machine, the one he shaves with. She said if I moved, she'd hurt me." Tears burned my eyes as she whispered. "When I cried, she said ugly girls cry too much. And if I told anyone, she'd cut my eyelashes next." When we stepped back into the living room, I held Lily's hand firmly in mine. The noise of the party swirled around us, but I could feel every eye on the cap she wore. Without a word, I lifted it from her head once more. Gasps broke through the chatter. My sister Diane covered her mouth with both hands. "Oh my goodness," she whispered. Across the room, Kara only smiled. I already explained to everyone. Her hair was always greasy, always tangled. This was necessary. Besides, it's cooler for summer. Necessary? I snapped. I washed her hair myself just 3 days ago. It was clean, soft, perfect. Do you want to call me a liar too? Before Kara could answer, our neighbor Tom Whitaker, who had dropped by with his wife, stepped closer. His voice was steady, firm. That's not discipline. Kara, that's cruelty. I've coached kids for 30 years and I know the difference. But Kara only laughed, tossing her hair back. Oh please, you're all overreacting. I looked down at Lily. She was clinging to me so tightly her little fingers dug into my dress. Her body shook with every word her mother spoke. I realized then that I could not leave her in that house another minute. We're leaving, I said firmly, pulling Lily close to my side. Kara crossed her arms and blocked the path toward the door. She's not going anywhere. It's Connor's birthday, and you're not going to ruin it with one of your tantrums. This isn't a tantrum, I replied, my voice sharper than I intended. This is protecting my granddaughter. Connor came forward, frustration etched across his face. Mom, please, stop causing a scene. It's just hair, you're making it worse. I stared at him, my son, who refused to see the fear written all over his child's face. Then I lifted Lily into my arms. No, Connor, what's worse is pretending this is normal. I carried Lily out of that house as if she were the most fragile treasure in the world. The cool evening air hit us, and I felt her small arms tighten around my neck. She didn't speak the entire ride to my bungalow. She just stared out the window, her cap pulled low again, silent tears tracing her cheeks. When we arrived, I led her straight to my bedroom. She looked so small sitting on the edge of the bed, shoulders hunched forward. I ran warm water for a bath, added lavender soap, and gently washed away the traces of the day. Afterward, I dabbed soothing cream on the tiny cuts across her scalp. She flinched but didn't cry. I slipped one of my soft cotton shirts over her head as pajamas and tucked her beneath my quilt. That night, she woke 3 times screaming, "No, Mommy, please." Each time I held her close, whispering, "You are safe here, Lily. Grandma will not let anyone hurt you again." The phone rang before midnight. Connor's name lit up the screen. I hesitated, then answered. "Mom, you need to bring Lily back right now," he said, his tone sharp, almost like I was an employee who had broken the rules. "No," I replied simply. "You can't just take her. She's my daughter. Kara's calling the police if you don't return her." I steadied my voice. "Good. Let her call. I'll gladly explain to the officers why a 6-year-old has razor cuts on her scalp, and why she's terrified of her mother. I'll show them the photos I took tonight." There was silence. Then his voice dropped lower. "Mom, you're overreacting again. It's just hair." "Connor," I said, anger rising like fire in my chest, "your little girl begged for help while you stood in the next room. Don't you dare tell me this is nothing." The next morning I called someone I trusted, Samuel Pike, an old family friend and lawyer. He arrived at my house within hours, his leather briefcase in hand, his face set in a firm line. Connor and Kara were already waiting on my front steps. Kara's eyes were red, but not from sorrow, from anger. "That's him. Mom, you brought a lawyer into this? Unbelievable." Samuel stood tall. "I'd like to hear what happened." Kara jumped in first. "She kidnapped my daughter. I want Lily back immediately." Samuel raised an eyebrow. "Kidnapping, you say? And why would Miss Ellison take your child without reason?" "She shaved her," I interrupted, my voice tight. I guided Lily to the doorway. Samuel's eyes softened when he saw the uneven scalp, the raw patches. He crouched to Lily's level. "Sweetheart, how do you feel?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "Scared. Mommy says ugly girls cry too much." Samuel straightened, his face hardening. "This isn't a family disagreement. This is abuse." The days that followed were quiet but heavy. I wanted Lily to feel safe, so I transformed my small office into her bedroom. We painted the walls a pale yellow together, her favorite color. I bought her new sheets patterned with daisies, a small desk for drawing, and a set of storybooks that stacked neatly by her bed. Each morning we shared breakfast at the kitchen table, planning our day. Some mornings we baked muffins. Other times we planted flowers in the backyard. Slowly, I began to see flickers of the old Lily, her laughter spilling out when the dog chased a butterfly, her hands stained with marker after an afternoon of coloring. Every evening we ended with a ritual. She would sit before the mirror while I massaged her scalp gently with coconut oil, calling it magic cream. I told her stories of brave princesses who had lost their hair but grew it back stronger than ever. A week later, I took Lily to meet Dr. Nadia Brooks, a child psychologist recommended by Samuel. The office was bright, filled with bookshelves, beanbags, and colorful toys. Dr. Brooks knelt to Lily's height and smiled warmly. "You can call me Dr. V. Do you like to play?" During the session, I sat quietly as Lily reached for a doll with long yarn hair. She picked up toy scissors and began cutting. Dr. Brooks asked softly, "What's happening to the doll?" "Her mommy is punishing her," Lily whispered. "She spilled water." My chest tightened. "And how does the doll feel?" "Ugly. Very sad." Dr. Brooks kept her voice gentle. "Do you think spilling water deserves that punishment?" Lily shook her head but then added, "Mommy says it does." When the hour ended, Dr. Brooks pulled me aside. "Your granddaughter is showing signs of trauma, low self-esteem, fear of punishment, and distorted ideas about what she deserves. But with time and safety she can heal." Not long after the session, my sister Diane called me with news. She had run into Kara's younger sister at the grocery store. Between small talk and lowered voices, the truth slipped out. Kara grew up in a house where punishment was constant, Diane explained. Her parents believed in harsh discipline. Yelling, cutting privileges, even cutting hair as punishment. She never got help for it. And now it's repeating. I stood there in my kitchen, phone pressed to my ear, trying to take it in. It didn't excuse anything. Lily wasn't just repeating history. She was a child living in fear. Diane sighed. Her sister said Kara was always impulsive, quick-tempered. Apparently she's been struggling with anger for years but never admitted it. That doesn't make Lily any less of a victim, Martha. It just explains where some of this started. I nodded silently. Context or not, my granddaughter still needed protection. 2 weeks later, a thick envelope arrived in my mailbox. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a legal petition from Connor and Kara, demanding custody of Lily be returned immediately. They argued that Kara had been officially diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder, that she was now on medication and attending therapy 3 times a week. My stomach dropped. On paper, it all looked neat, steps taken, boxes checked, but no sheet of paper could erase the fear I had seen in Lily's eyes. I called Samuel immediately. He listened quietly, then said, "The judge has ordered a complete family evaluation. That means interviews with all of you, psychological reports, and a hearing in 2 weeks' time." 2 weeks. That was all the time I had to prepare for the fight of my life. That night, I tucked Lily into bed and watched her chest rise and fall as she slept. I whispered to myself, "Whatever it takes, I will keep you safe." Connor came to see me alone the next afternoon. He looked older than his years, dark circles under his eyes, shoulders heavy with regret. He sat at my kitchen table, unable to meet my gaze. "Mom," he began, voice low. "I know I failed. I kept the peace instead of protecting my daughter. I thought if I ignored Kara's temper, it would calm down. I was wrong." For a moment, I saw the boy I had raised, not the man who stood by while his child cried. "Connor," I said quietly, "Lily is terrified. Do you truly believe Kara has changed after a few weeks of therapy?" He swallowed hard. "I want to believe it. She's working on herself. She says she's sorry. But what if she relapses?" I leaned forward. "Then you make a choice. And that choice has to be your daughter. Above everything else." He nodded, tears slipping down his face. The day of the hearing arrived faster than I could have imagined. The courthouse smelled faintly of paper and coffee, its tall ceilings echoing with footsteps. I held Lily's hand as we walked inside, her small palm damp with nervous sweat. She wore a coral dress we had picked out together, her soft new curls shining under the fluorescent lights. Across the aisle, Kara sat stiffly, her hair pulled back, her face pale. Connor looked hollow, like a man torn in two. The proceedings began with their lawyer presenting stacks of documents. "Your Honor," he said smoothly, "my clients have complied with every recommendation. Therapy, medication, parenting classes. Mrs. Hart has been diagnosed and treated for her condition." Then Samuel rose. His voice carried strength. "Paper progress does not erase trauma. This child was humiliated and threatened. She wakes with nightmares. What she needs now is safety, not promises." Finally, Dr. Brooks spoke. When asked about returning home, Lily trembles. That reaction alone tells us she is not ready. The judge cleared the room so only the lawyers, parents, and I remained. Lily was led to a small wooden chair placed near the bench. Her legs dangled, her hands twisted nervously in her lap. Judge Rivera leaned forward, his voice gentle. "Lily, do you know why we're here today?" She nodded. "To decide if I have to go back with Mommy and Daddy." "And what do you want?" the judge asked softly. Lily glanced at her parents, then at me. Her voice shook, but she spoke clearly. "I want to stay with Grandma. Because at Grandma's house I'm not scared. I sleep all night. And Grandma never calls me ugly." Connor bowed his head. Kara's face crumpled. The judge paused, then asked, "Are you afraid of your mother?" Lily whispered, "A little. Before I was very scared. Now just a little. But I don't want to go home yet." The courtroom was silent as Judge Rivera shuffled his notes. His expression was solemn, deliberate. "After reviewing testimony and professional evaluations, I must place the child's safety above all else." My breath caught. He continued, "Temporary custody will remain with Miss Ellison for 6 more months. During this time, the parents will have supervised visits twice a week, increasing only with documented progress from therapy. Any further incident that endangers the child will result in termination of visitation rights." Kara broke into tears, her shoulders shaking. Connor pressed both hands over his face, caught between relief and regret. I pulled Lily gently onto my lap. She leaned against me, whispering so only I could hear, "Grandma, does this mean I'm safe?" I kissed the top of her head. "Yes, my love, you are safe now." The weeks that followed felt like sunlight slowly breaking through heavy clouds. Lily's soft curls grew in, framing her face with the promise of renewal. She laughed more often, her drawings returned to bright colors instead of dark scribbles, and the nightmares came less and less. Connor visited regularly under supervision. He knelt low, whispering apologies, trying to rebuild the trust he had let slip away. Kara came too, quieter than I had ever seen her. She no longer defended what she had done. Instead, she whispered to Lily, "You are beautiful. Mommy was wrong." Forgiveness would not come overnight. But Lily was healing in her own time, at her own pace. Every night, as I tucked her into bed, I told her the same words: "You are safe. You are loved. And no matter what happens, Grandma will always be here." Looking back, I realized this story is not only mine. It belongs to every grandparent, parent, or guardian who has ever had to draw a hard line to protect a child. Love sometimes means stepping into conflict. It means saying enough when silence would be easier. For Lily, it was never about hair. It was about dignity, about knowing she is more than the cruel words spoken to her. And for me, it was about proving that even at 71, I still had the strength to fight for what is right. So I ask you, if you believe children deserve safety and respect, share this story. Like this video, leave a comment to tell me where you are watching from. And remember, your voice can be the difference between silence and protection. Because love, real love, always protects.